I told my husband's best friend he'd let himself go. After he kept bragging that I used to crush on him, now he's furious. My husband says I went too far. Short version for my low attention span readers, LOL. My husband, 27, his best friend, 27, and I, 27, all went to the same high school. Back then, I had a crush on my husband's friend, so I originally befriended my husband to get closer to him. After trying for a while, I eventually gave up because the friend got a girlfriend. Meanwhile, my husband and I became really close and eventually started dating. A few years later, we got married. My husband is still very close with his best friend, and we all hang out at our place from time to time. The problem is that his friend constantly brings up our high school days and mentions how I used to like him. I told him many times to stop, but he never listened. One night after a few drinks, I finally got the courage to call him out. I told him it didn't matter that I used to like him because he let himself go and I don't find him attractive anymore. He got angry, and now my husband is torn. Detailed version. I met my husband in high school, back when I didn't think much of myself. We had a biology class together and sat next to each other. I thought he was cute, but I didn't pay much attention to him until I found out he was close friends with the guy I had a crush on, who I'll call Jared. After that, I started talking to my husband more, and because he's genuinely kind, he welcomed it. Eventually, we became close enough to hang out outside of class, and through him, I got to know Jared and the rest of their friend group. I tried for a long time to get Jared's attention, but he never showed any interest. When he got a girlfriend, I was crushed. My husband comforted me and told me I was beautiful and that Jared just didn't see it. Not long after, my husband confessed his feelings. Being a stupid teenage girl, I agreed to date him even though I still had leftover feelings for Jared, mostly because I wanted to feel wanted. But after a few months, Jared became single again, and I realized I didn't care the way I once did. That's when I knew I truly loved my husband and only my husband. Years passed, and Jared went through a few relationships. His last breakup hit him hard. Sadly, his girlfriend cheated, and when that happened, he started coming over a lot to vent. Over time, he changed from the confident and attractive guy I once liked to someone more withdrawn, chubbier, and honestly not taking good care of himself. That's when the teasing about high school started. At first, it was just him complaining about how he used to look, but then he kept bringing up how obsessed I was with him. I ignored it because I figured he was just reminiscing on his old days, but it didn't stop. Yesterday night, he came over again and went on the same rant about how popular he used to be. Then, he threw in another comment about how I was so in love with him back then, and even added, "I knew you liked me, but you were not someone I'd ever consider being with in high school, no offense." It was insulting, and even my husband looked uncomfortable. I was tipsy and fed up, so I snapped and said, "It doesn't matter because you don't even look as good as you did in high school. I don't care if I was never your type because you're definitely not mine anymore." He looked shocked, my husband gasped, and I immediately felt overwhelmed and apologized. Jared got up to leave, but he was too drunk to drive, so my husband took him to our guest room while I stayed downstairs in shock. We barely spoke the rest of the night. The next morning, Jared left, and my husband finally talked to me. He understands why I was upset, but he thinks it was wrong to say something so harsh when Jared is clearly depressed and struggling with his weight. I get that, but I'm still angry that Jared kept pushing the same hurtful comments over and over. It feels like he is bragging about how I used to like him, and it rubs me the wrong way. So, Reddit, be honest, but not brutal. Am I the a-hole? Side note. Yes, this is real. Yes, this is a throwaway account. Yes, I know it's random to be writing this at 2 a.m., but I'm very conflicted at the moment. Also, hopefully the formatting is easy to read and not annoying. I tried my best, LOL. Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. NTA. He's been dumped and is feeling low because his ex cheated. That's a big blow. So his solution to that is to jump on a memory of a high school crush you had on him and dry hump it to death to build himself back up? NTA, but he and your husband are. What did your husband say every time his friend made these comments? OP. He would honestly just laugh it off and try to change the subject. My husband is very non-confrontational, but I can always tell when he's uncomfortable, and each time Jared talked about high school, my husband was clearly very uncomfortable. I truly don't believe my husband meant to be dismissive about it. I just think he gets nervous when the possibility of friend drama arises. Commenter 2. NTA. These constant taunts are disrespectful to you and your marriage. Your husband can't feel good that his friend keeps reminding him he was choice number 2. You guys should demand your friend seek help for his issues. Only then would I consider staying friends with him. OP, absolutely my thoughts. I thought it was rude to me. He was basically calling me ugly. But it was more disrespectful to my husband in the sense that he was trying to belittle my relationship with my husband. Commenter 3. ESH, except for maybe your husband and it's not kind of your husband's friend to say anything along the lines of, you weren't my type back then, because it means he thought he could do better. But at the same time, you saying you could do better based on what he looks like now, the sentiment doesn't change. It's kind of mean. Sure, one could make an argument for justified AH since you reciprocated the same energy, but that's still an AH. You're in love and with your person now. Enjoy it. And maybe ask your husband to have your back like he has your friend's back too. There's no need to bring up a high school crush anymore. It's time to live in the now and move forward. I wish you and your husband many happy years together. OP. I appreciate this take. I would like to add that I was very insecure about my looks in high school, and both my husband and Jared know about my insecurities. I have since worked on myself, and I believe I have glowed up a lot. I now get complimented on my looks, which I never did in high school. So when Jared mentioned how ugly I was in high school, it stung a lot, as I really did admire him in high school. It hurt to know that people in high school did think I was ugly, and it brought back a lot of old memories I did not want to relive. I would argue that I was not an asshole, as I didn't do anything but tell the truth. He doesn't look as put together as he did in his earlier years, and he truly isn't my type now. Just because I'm harsh doesn't mean I'm being an asshole. Commenter 4. NTA. I wonder if Jared is trying to drive a wedge between you and your husband so that his BFF will be single too. OP, interesting. Commenter 5. NTA. He sounds like an arrogant prick. You ended up with a good one. It sounds so be happy with the man you are with and forget this dude. Why is your husband even friends with him if he is bragging about some HS bull? OP. They went to the same elementary school and basically grew up together. Before this situation, I was on good terms with Jared, and I would even consider him a friend. It would be hard to cut him off, as my husband sees him as a brother more than a mere friend. Commenter 6. You got a wimp for a husband. He should have been checked his friend. You are his wife. He doesn't have to fight, but he needed to set the boundary, and he never did. Enta. OP, harsh. But I do agree that my husband should have stood up for me more. Update 1. Hey Peps! I woke up today to a lot of comments, and even though it was a bit overwhelming, I read all of them, and I mean all. A lot of people had negative things to say about my husband, which honestly hurt because I didn't think I painted him in a bad light. Somehow he is being attacked more than Jared is. Before I get into the mini update, I've seen other posters add context and respond to common comments, so I'm going to do the same. This will be long. Bear with me, guys. My husband is not a terrible person. I still love him despite everything I mentioned, and despite what I'm going to mention in the update. He is not weak or a beta, like some people said. He just struggles to confront situations like this directly. Jared has been his best friend since 5th grade. That is not a bond that breaks easily. They went to the same elementary school, high school, and university. They are basically brothers. My husband is not sucking up to Jared because he thinks Jared is better than him. If Jared weren't in such a low place, my husband would have been much harsher. I also don't think my husband is perfect. He has done messed up things in the past, but so have I, and I believe people can change. I do not have feelings for Jared. That ended years ago. And no, if Jared had stayed in shape, I still wouldn't have feelings for him. I stopped liking him during our first year of university. We went to the same school, and he still looked the same as he did in high school, so it wasn't his appearance that changed things. He broke up with his girlfriend, and I realized I didn't care anymore. The old me would have been excited and tried to shoot my shot, but instead, I felt nothing. I love my husband, and only my husband. Jared is not an option for me in any way. Some people suggested Jared might have feelings for me, which is possible. He has made comments about my appearance before. I worked hard to glow up during my final year of high school because I wanted to improve myself before university. When my husband and I met up with Jared for the first time after that, Jared told me I looked very different. He said it as a compliment. My husband agreed because he thought Jared was just stating the obvious, not flirting. Divorce is not an option for me. I am very religious, and I take my vows seriously. They are not something I would throw away over this situation. Divorce is not always the solution. So before you comment divorce, remember that we are real people who have real history, and it is a lot harder to divorce someone than you think it is. Update. I did not show my husband the post, even though many people suggested it. A lot of the comments felt sexist and harsh toward him, and I don't want to expose him to that. But after reading everything, I did want to talk to him about his inability to stand up for me. He told me he didn't want to isolate Jared right now. I didn't know this before, but according to my husband, Jared became a bit suicidal after the breakup with his girlfriend, and my husband was the only one who could pull him out of that downward spiral. I felt sympathy for Jared, and I told my husband that, but after reading so many comments, I realized that doesn't excuse Jared's behavior, so I pushed for more answers. I also asked my husband if it made him uncomfortable when Jared constantly brought up high school. My husband paused, and I immediately knew he was holding something back. I kept pushing until he finally told me something I never thought I would hear. During our first year of university, Jared started mentioning me more during private conversations with my husband. My husband felt proud of dating me and kept saying things like he had invested in me. That already hurt, but it got worse. He admitted that he used to brag about my body and looks to Jared, showing him pictures of me dressed up for date nights. Then it escalated. Jared ended up seeing a picture of me with no clothes on, something meant only for my husband. According to him, it was an accident because he was scrolling through his photo album and the picture popped up. My husband said that when Jared started bringing up high school, he was scared Jared might bring up what happened in university and that I would be furious. I am disgusted knowing Jared has seen me like that. It makes all of his comments about me so much worse. My husband is at work right now, which is why I have time to write this. I'm still processing everything, and I feel completely lost. I didn't want him to be late for work, so we weren't able to talk much. Knowing him, he is probably at work stressing right now about me knowing the truth. If it really was an accident, I feel like I can't be completely mad, but it still feels awful knowing my photos were shown without my consent. I feel betrayed, even if I don't think my husband meant for that picture to be seen. I'm still angry that he bragged about me like I was some new sports car he got a great deal on. I know this is going to make a lot of people hate him even more, but I genuinely don't think he intended for any of this to happen. I know this isn't the update most people expected. I still need to talk to my husband when he gets back from work, and I'm hoping I can invite Jared over later today for a conversation. I will try to update as soon as I can because I hate when updates take so long. I appreciate all the comments that were respectful toward me and my husband, but I do understand the outrage. Thanks for reading this long update, and thank you to everyone who commented on the original post 3. Edit made a comment earlier that wasn't getting noticed and got buried. So I decided to add an edit here. I won't post an update until tomorrow when I have had time to gather my thoughts. I have spoken to my husband since the update, and let's just say things are not going great. Just because I want to clear things up, I'll write it here. When I say I'm religious, I mean I am Christian. Divorce is frowned upon in my faith because it is believed you should never marry someone you aren't completely sure about. This is not saying I wouldn't divorce him if he did something extreme like cheating or abuse. It is just acknowledging the importance of commitment in a marriage. The people hating on my religion and saying I'm brainwashed are being incredibly irrational. You have clearly jumped to conclusions based on your own biases about certain religions. I apologize if it sounds like I'm excusing my husband's behavior. I absolutely think what he did was wrong, and today we discussed a few things related to his spineless behavior. I won't talk much about what we discussed until the update, because he has decided to have a one-on-one conversation with Jared. I'd rather wait until then to piece everything together meaningfully. My husband will be made aware of this thread, because I believe I may have been coddling him too much. I will probably show him after posting this comment, and if all goes well, I will try my best to update tomorrow when he speaks to Jared. I repeat that my husband is not a misogynist. Although some of you think I am a typical stay-at-home trophy wife, I am actually a business owner, which allows me to work from home. Even though my husband makes more than I do, he does not dictate our finances or act like the man of the house or anything like that. Please understand this. I would never date a misogynist, let alone marry one. My husband is not the type to reduce women to their bodies, despite some of you believing I'm his property. I fear some of you have lost the plot. My husband is not the type to hide spicy folders. Just last year, we made a folder of our spicy content and put a password on it. He never used to do that. I recently asked him to do it to protect our privacy, since he doesn't let anyone near his phone anyway. I genuinely believe he was scrolling through pictures of me in his gallery, and the photo popped up. Although one commenter made a good point about why he made such a big deal about it, that is the only thing making me question the situation. I want to thank the people who were extra harsh because it was definitely a wake-up call. Even though seeing all the negative comments was starting to get to me, I do believe you all have the best intentions, and I truly appreciate how people from different countries can come together to talk some sense into me despite never meeting me in person. I might sound naive or stupid to some of you, but it is much harder to notice red flags when you are the one experiencing them. Finally, I will not be divorcing my husband. I've seen people mention therapy, and I think that is justified. I'd rather talk things out on our own first, since I'm not great at confessing my feelings to real-life people in person, especially when their job is to judge you. I believe my husband can learn from his mistakes and change, just like I have in the past. Update 2. Okay, this is going to be an overload of information, so if you have a short attention span, you might want to skip this one. First, I want to thank everyone for the kind and actually helpful messages. I also really appreciate the comments that are not being rude and genuinely want to help in my situation. I also found out today that my post was shared on some YouTube videos, and the comments there were constructive, so thanks if you were some of the people who commented on those posts. Now, let's just dive straight into the update, as there is a lot to unpack. Update. Before I sat down with my husband, I called Jared. I know many of you said not to, but I followed a Redditor's plan. Thank you to the person who messaged me this idea. It worked. The plan was to accuse Jared of taking my husband's phone back in university to look for my spicy photos, hoping he would panic and reveal the truth. If he denied everything, I would say my husband told me he did it so Jared would not feel the need to protect him. I know this was extreme, but so many comments insisted my husband was lying, and it genuinely made me rethink my marriage. A part of me still hoped it was not true, which is why I am relieved I finally know what happened. The call with Jared went like this. I told him I knew what he did in university. He was confused at first, then went silent, then insisted he never looked for nudes. He admitted he scrolled through my husband's photos of me only because my husband gave him the phone, which matched the bragging story. He also saw a nude by accident. He said he immediately showed my husband and smirked because he thought I looked hot, and he thought my husband did a good job. My husband apparently grabbed the phone and begged him not to tell me. This matched what my husband told me later, except he left out the smirk. After the call, Jared called my husband. I was angry at first, thinking they planned a story, but then realized my husband would not have told me about the call if he wanted to lie. I showed him the Reddit thread. He was upset I posted about our situation and worried Jared might see it, but he calmed down when I explained I changed names and details. When he started reading comments, he became defensive and began spiraling, asking why I would entertain them. He raised his voice until I said maybe they were right and maybe we should not be together. That snapped him out of it. He apologized, begged me not to leave, and kept reading. He agreed with some comments defending him and even thanked me for defending him in my updates. He told me through tears that he did not want to lose me. He talked about loving me, trying to make me feel secure, and never wanting to dehumanize me. He said he was not bragging about my body in the way I described. He felt I made him look bad and pointed out that women brag about their partners being handsome and fit all the time, and it is seen as normal, yet when he did it, it was seen as creepy. I understood the double standard. When I asked why he did not defend me when Jared made those comments, he said he was sorry and saw it as an attack on himself rather than me. He said he let it slide because Jared was depressed and he did not want to confront him. He thought my reaction was me defending him and felt I went too far, but said he appreciated it and was only scared Jared might mention the nude photos out of spite. I told him I reacted because I felt attacked. He then said he asked Jared to apologize to me when he comes over tomorrow because he could see how upset I was. I was surprised and annoyed because even though I was okay calling Jared, I did not want him in our home yet. I made notes about things to talk about, including the "I invested in you" comment. He said it was a joke, and that he was attracted to me in high school, but thinks I look even better now. It still made me feel bad, and he could tell, which led him to kiss me and tell me I am beautiful. I tried not to cave in emotionally, so I pushed him back and continued. I also brought up his friendship with Jared. He admitted he has always been insecure about my past crush on Jared, but thought I would see him as jealous if he cut Jared off, especially since I stayed friends with him after we got together. After we married and Jared let himself go, he no longer saw him as a threat. He told me that if I wanted him to cut off Jared, he would. He said our relationship mattered more than his friendship, and that although he would be upset, he would choose me. I said I was not sure what to do with that yet. I reassured him that I only love him, not Jared. I do want to clarify that I never felt unsafe around Jared, but I disliked the things he said about me. Now that I know the truth, things feel different. Should I make him cut Jared off? My husband promised to do anything to make things right, and I believe him. I am not divorcing him. He loves me and is willing to change, but I am considering therapy for us or for myself. I am very grateful for everyone who reached out and replied to my post. I am not sure another update is needed, but if you want to know what happens with Jared, I can update. I will try to respond to comments in the meantime. Thank you, everyone.